diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and today I have with me Shane McGough, who's a center out of Florida International. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Obviously playing center for Florida International for a while. I had a pretty decent off season, going to a few different All-Star events. Before we get to, I guess, all that other stuff, tell me just a little bit about yourself, man. Tell me where you're from, and just maybe a little bit about your overall career.
Yeah, so I'm from Tampa, Florida. I was born in Nebraska. We moved down here when I was about 3 years old. So I grew up right here in like Wesley Chapel. Grew up playing Pop Warner football right here in Wesley Chapel, and then ended up going to Hillsborough County to play high school football. I played at Gaither. Didn't always play offensive line. I started out JV as a freshman as a linebacker, actually, and then got moved up to varsity, played linebacker for another year, and then got moved to tight end. Played tight end there for a little bit, and then someone finally told me to put my hand in the dirt, and then that's where it took off, and fell in love with the position, and played tackle in high school. And then when I got to college, they moved me inside and played center. My first year at FIU and my first 2 years at FIU, I was center. And then for the next 2 years, I played left guard and right guard, and then moved back to center for my last 2 years. So, kind of bounced around all over the place, played all over on the inside, which is great, especially nowadays. You got to be a swing guy. So love that. But yeah, my career at FIU, I enjoyed it. Did 5 years, did some good things, went to a few different bowl games, and, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right. So, I mean, obviously being a center / guard there for several years. So, I mean, how exactly did you get to FIU? Did you just kind of follow the trend with your brother, or what was that all about? Do you have any other potential places that you're
Yes.
going to go?
Yeah. So, I was getting, some looks and some guys coming to school to see me and stuff like that. But my junior year summer, is when a lot of guys start going to a bunch of different camps. And the first 2 camps I went to was FAU, and then the next day I went to an FIU camp. Kind of just made our way down the state. And I went to the FIU camp, and it was beginning of the summer. I went and I got offered after the camp. They gave me an offer, and being that I knew I was going to be a center, my brother was a starting quarterback there. Those are the kind of things when you're kids you dream about. You dream about playing and snapping to your brother and being able to play with him. So when I got the offer, it only took me about probably 16 hours before I was back on the phone calling Coach Turner and committing. So basically, yeah, I kind of, I really just kind of wanted to play with my brother. And when I got the opportunity, I couldn't say no.
Great. So, I mean, you've been a fairly consistent, reliable guy there at FIU. What would you say has been maybe the best part of your game, or maybe one of your better attributes as a player?
Yeah, what I think I always play with a chip on my shoulder. I'm not out there to make friends. That's not how I play. Um, Especially being an offensive lineman, you got to play like that. And if you lack the chip on your shoulder, you're going to get yourself caught in certain situations you don't want to be in. So I think that's one of the main things that I look at as a positive for me. Also, my being quick and fast as a big guy, is really important, especially nowadays with some of the super athletic guys you got on the defensive line. So being able to be quick and fast and play with the chip on your shoulder and play aggressive is what I look at as my positive attributes.
Gotcha. Another one of the questions I really wanted to ask you is, you typically as players develop over the years, their study of the game has to get better in order for them to succeed. I mean, because you figure even at the professional level, most guys are very athletic. So I mean, you've got to be able to understand the mental aspect of the game. So I was just going to ask you, has there has there been a moment where your study in the film room really played off like in a game time situation? Can you sort of share that with me?
Yeah, you like to say it happens a lot. You put all the time in the film room.
Right.
You like to see it happen. But one of the specific times that I can talk about is the Miami game, the 2019 season. That game, everyone was like, no one thought we were going to win the game, and all the guys were in the film room, studying, because they had a lot of good players, on their defense. The two linebackers they had were all Americans. They had their defensive line was super good, super hyped up. They had just came off of a Florida State game where they had, I think, like 9 sacks in the game. So, a lot of the coaches and a lot of the press that was were putting a lot of pressure on the offensive line. So when you go and look at the game, the ability to recognize blitzes, to recognize the fronts, to study the specific opponent that you were going to play against, and know his favorite pass rush moves, the kind of run player he was, was he a 2 gap? Is he going to try to shed you backside? Those are the things that you really had to study and you really had to notice to be able to put your running back, your quarterback, your receivers in a position to where they can make plays with the football.
Yeah, I mean, getting that one upset win had to be awesome. I think maybe only a handful of people like in the world even thought that you guys were going to make it and actually come out with a win. But I mean, you did. I mean, which is so awesome. I mean, having that upset win is great. Was there maybe a play in that game that sticks out in your memory that you want to share, or any other highlight that you feel like sharing?
Yeah, a specific play I can talk that I don't think I'll ever forget it. It was the end of the 3rd quarter, and we were only up by, I think it was still a 1 possession game, and we were probably 30 yards out from the end zone, and we called just like a zone play. And I remember I snapped the ball. I looked over. I saw the 2-eye rock out. He went outside. So I slowed down and kind of chipped back on the nose guard, popped off for the linebacker, and then out of the corner of my eye, I see Anthony Jones, our running back, just split it up right off of where I blocked the linebacker, and just seeing him had nothing but space. I still remember that the play. It was on CBS Sports or something like that, and it ran down, and the announcer, whoever's announcing, actually commented the fact I'm running down the field and just like fist bumping as I'm running down. I was so excited because that kind of was the ceiling touchdown of the game. And to be able to just see that come right off my block, I'll never forget that.
That's great, man. I mean, obviously being able to get that block is cool, but I mean, also being able to see this 300-pound man, running down the field, and being there to celebrate with his teammate is definitely a great thing as well. So, cool, man. I like that. I mean, I like it when I always cheer for the underdog, man. Like whoever it is, and obviously you guys were able to get one over on the big guys there. So obviously this year as well as last year, we've had a lot of adversity, like with the pandemic and everything. So a lot of things have changed. There were a couple of all-star events that were canceled this year. And also we don't even have a combine. Although we do have your pro day. So we have your pro day coming up March 29th, right? So where are you training at right now? I mean, what are you trying to do to get yourself prepped up for that date?
Yeah, I'm actually training here in Tampa, Florida at the Trench Academy with Coach Taylor. We've been going at it strong here for quite a while now, and we're kind of in the fourth. He texted us the other day, actually. We're kind of in the 4th quarter of it. A lot of the stuff is deload now. We're going to get super technique specific with all the combine drills. A lot of stuff's going to be recorded, so we can make sure we're doing all the little things right to get the best time as possible. Obviously still hitting position work and stuff like that, keeping that rust off. You don't get to put pads on and go play every week, so you got to make sure you're doing a lot of drill work to keep that up to par. And we're going, making sure we get recovered and stuff like that. We got a great recovery center over there, so we're getting our legs back right, and just really grinding this last month out before pro day comes, so we can do the best we can and put the best numbers up.
So are there times or numbers that you're trying to, attain during your, pro day? I mean, what are some of your goals?
Yeah, so I'm I'd like to say, for the 40, it's not often where you get an offensive lineman that can run under 5 seconds. And I think I can do it. I'm close. I'm not going to give any pointers out there. I'm going to wait till pro day to lay down numbers, but I'm trying to get a 4.9. I think I'll be able to get there. I'm really confident in it. So hopefully this last month we just dial in all the little things and get that done. Bench, there's always, you can group numbers that guys, the averages for offensive linemen and stuff like that. I'd like to get, above 25 would be awesome. I think I'll be there. I got no doubt in my mind I'll be there. As far as the shuttle numbers go, we put down a couple numbers the other day. I think, my short shuttle was a 4.56, which is fast. I think, it's pretty good. So, there's only room for improvement here. That was like one of the first times we had put a number down. So hopefully I just get all the little kinks out and they're better on pro day.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are some people that really, I don't know, they're just kind of drawn to those numbers. Although, generally speaking, some people like even never look at them. They just kind of use them as like, checking a box because
Exactly.
I mean, if you were able to actually go out there and do great things on the field, I mean, the true evaluators will see you doing that, on your tape.
Exactly.
Again, like I had mentioned before, one of the cool things that you were able to do this off season was attend some all-star events. You got a chance to go to the College Gridiron Showcase, the Tropical Bowl, which is right in your backyard. But then you got a chance to go all the way out to Hawaii at the Hula Bowl. Tell me just a little bit about each of those experiences, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so the Tropical Bowl was the first one I went to, and it was great. We went out there in Orlando, like you said, it's not too far, so I just hopped in the truck and drove over there. But it was good. We got to stay out there and practice a couple of days. There were scouts out there. You're going against different opponents that you might not have played in the season, so that's always good to be able to see, especially if they're at bigger name schools or whatever you want to say. You're going against maybe higher level competition than you would have before, so. That was a pretty good experience. CGS, the College Gridiron Showcase, was that wasn't a game, but we got to go out there in the first couple of days where a lot of helpful meetings and seminars, about like financial stuff and preparing us for when you do start making a lot of money, how to do it right and how to not blow through it all, and the smart decisions you need to make. And then the last day we got to go out on the field and do some drills, that like position drills that they would have done, at the combine, that scouts were out there and stuff. So that was good exposure. And then the Hula Bowl was awesome. You got to go all the way out to Hawaii, which I'd never been there. So that was just cool just to be able to go out there and see it. And then, I didn't even know till I got there. Maybe I should have known. I was in the meeting, and the head coach for my team was Rex Ryan, and our offensive coordinator was Mark Sanchez. So that was pretty cool to be able to be under those guys and see those guys kind of shoot back and forth at each other. But then the people you meet out there, all the different players that, you never got the chance to meet, you get time to hang out with them. We had a decent amount of free time. We can go see the stuff. Again, there was a lot of scouts there during the game. So that was really cool to do. And the Hula Bowl, again, there was guys there, defensive linemen I was blocking, that went to Iowa and Michigan and, played at all these bigger schools than, maybe teams that were in my conference. So it's good to show scouts that, you can block outside of your conference. They want to see you go against those big guys, or maybe guys that were a little more hyped up. Their names had a little more heat behind them, and they see you block them, it really proves something to them.
So what were some of those scouts telling you? I mean, were they giving you any I don't know, advice or pointers as to, maybe what sort of things you have to improve on, or were they giving you any ideas of anything of that sort?
No, not really. They kind of just, watch and, they write their stuff down. And when a team wants to talk to you, they kind of they interview you, give you, general background stuff, ask you a few personal questions, just stuff they want to know. They want to know who you are. They want to know what you're about, what kind of guy you are. People got to understand that when team drafts somebody or, takes a chance on them, it's like, it's a business investment because they're spending money on it. So they got to make sure that, it's not a bad investment. So they're just trying to make sure, that you are who you say you are. They're kind of reading you as you're answering all the questions and all that.
Great. So, I mean, obviously you sat down with at least a decent handful of people. I mean, you went to 3 different All-Star events. So you had to talk with, I mean, I'm assuming like what, 15 different teams maybe? I mean, I don't know if you actually sat down and counted. Do you have a
No,
number?
yeah. No, I talked to a few teams with like sit down interviews,
Right.
but some of it, was just, almost in like a group setting where, they got all your information through different routes of different feeds of information. There was different, packets and stuff we filled out with all our information and stuff like that all the scouts get. Obviously we did our, the height, weight, all the measurements that they're all sitting in there writing it all down. But I only got the chance to meet with a few teams one-on-one, sit down, but they all got the information. So, I can't complain.
Cool. So, I mean, we obviously want to be able not just to talk to those 3 different teams, but to also talk to, the rest of the teams in NFL or any other professional leagues out there, just to kind of get your name out there. Let's kind of dive into a little bit into who you are like outside of football. Share with us a little bit about yourself, maybe what you're passionate about. What'd you do there as a student? What'd you get your degree in? Have you already graduated?
Yeah, I graduated in December. My major was liberal studies. So it's just a generalized major pretty much. I took a lot of criminal justice classes, and other things like that. I started out criminal justice and then switched to liberal studies my sophomore or junior year. So that's kind of one thing, you want to talk about outside of football. I've always kind of had an interest in like law enforcement. I've always wanted to get into it when I get done playing at some sort of capacity, like whether it's, being a detective, being on like a certain team or something like that. It's something I've always really been interested in. Other than that, some of my hobbies outside of football is pretty much everything outdoors. You can say like, I guess the generalized term is I'm kind of like a country kid. I like to go outside. I like to fish, hunt, and do all that kind of stuff. We take our trucks through trails, and just hang out there, ride 4-wheelers, pretty much anything you can think, outside. I love to do it, camping, all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. I mean, you always have to remember, I mean, even though you're like down in Florida, you said earlier that you moved from like, the country area. So it's in your blood. So, I mean, it goes with you. I want to give you the opportunity to maybe give some shout outs to some people. Anybody that's just kind of meant a lot to you, maybe taught you a lot about the game or life or anything, players, coaches, teammates, go for it, man. Like who you want to give a little love to?
Yeah. Obviously, the first one was my mom and dad. They've, never said, you can't play this, you can't play that. I always had the opportunity to play all the sports I wanted, go to all the tournaments I need to. I always had the equipment I needed. My dad made sure, we had what we needed when we were growing up to play. They actually never missed a game, never missed a college game, home or away, for me and my brother. So they were going to FIU games for 7 years. And then as far as coaches go, Coach Davis, coming in, and my last year, I was one of 2 guys that weren't part of his recruiting classes. We were the only 2 from the old coaching staff. So, him being able to stick with me and trust me, as a player, coming out off my redshirt year, trusting me to come in and play. My position coach I had for 3 years, Coach Mogridge, he set my head back on straight more times than I can probably count. So he put me on a straight line and kind of got me to be the player that I am today. Made sure I was able to control certain, sometimes I'd get when I was younger, get a little hot headed and start freaking out. And he kind of dialed me back in. My strength coach, Chad Smith, he was there for 4 years. That guy, you want to talk about somebody who builds players, that's your strength coach. You're with him more than any other coach there is. You're with him all off season long, during the season, most of the time when you don't want to be. But that guy taught you how to, fight through adversity, whatever gets thrown at you, be able to take it, be prepared for anything, and got me ready for more seasons than I can count.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that have really, molded you, shaped you into the player and person that you are. I mean, obviously it starts with your family, but then a whole lot of other people along the way, and I think that that's great. Um, as we begin to wrap up, real quick, I just wanted to I always ask this question. Give me your why. Tell me why you play football. What's your motivation?
Yeah, I think it's something, I started when I was really, really young. I was in third grade when I put my first pair of pads on. So it's something that you just fall in love with at an early age. And when you play for so long, it's like I couldn't even imagine like football not being part of my life. Like I don't know life without football pretty much. I've been playing it for so long. And just the support I have from my parents and my family and everybody, them pushing me from when I was, my dad dragging me to practice when I was in middle school and elementary school when probably I didn't want to go, but he was dragging us over there, to all them, it's almost, my thank you to them, just to keep going and not let them down and prove to them that it all was for something. That's what kind of keeps me going. And especially having an older brother play, you're never not competing with your older brother. So you're always itching to get up back with him. So, those are the things that just, keep me going, just the love for the game and all the support that I have.
Gotcha. And very last question for you, bud. I mean, I want to give you the opportunity to give your pitch to, those teams that maybe didn't actually get a chance to sit down with you. I mean, why should they take a chance on you, sign you, bring you into their team? I mean, what kind of teammate would you be?
Yeah, I'm a guy, that gets along with everybody. I do great. I'm like a great fit in locker rooms. I love being around the guys. It's, the best part about football is the brotherhood in the locker room and getting the bond with all those guys that, you probably would have never met if you weren't on the same team. I'm football smart. I understand the game. I see it. I know it. I love it. I study it. I do whatever I got to do to be able to be a better player. I put the work in. I put my head down and go to work. I don't really ask many questions when it comes to that. You tell me, go run through this wall so we can win. I'm going to go put my face through it. That's the kind of player I am. I play with the chip on my shoulder. I'm always, my brother's keeper. You got to have your brother's back, whatever you do. Quick, got the speed, got the agility to keep up with these big name guys. I can't say anything else really besides I love the game. I love playing it. It's what I do. And I live for the offensive line position. Like a lot of people, ask the question, what would you do? Or how is it, being offensive line, you don't get all the fame, all the names, all the articles. It's not about that with me. It's about the best feeling for us, is making that block and seeing our running back squirt out. That's the feeling that, you just live for. And, that's kind of my final pitch right there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, offensive linemen, the unsung heroes of each and every game. And
Yep.
If anyone does see this, man, I mean, I feel like aside from everything else, I mean, offensive linemen need to be represented a whole lot more. I mean, you guys at best might get one statistic, which is that pancake block. But I mean, other than that, you guys don't have much going for you. So I mean, you're making the block so that other guys can actually go out there and make plays.
Yep.
But Shane, this has been great. I mean, I really appreciate your time and just sort of learning about who you are and getting to share your story. I do feel like a team's going to take a chance on you, maybe allow you to come in, and compete. I definitely see you as a competitor. I mean, got to get in there, got to be able to show your brother up a little bit, and hopefully maybe give him a few snaps in the league. I mean, I don't know, maybe make it out there to Seattle or something. I mean,
Absolutely.
but I think it's great. Shane, wish you best of luck. Definitely a guy that people need to check out. Again, Shane McGough, center, maybe even a guard if you asked him to, at a Florida International. Thank you again.
Yep. Appreciate it.